Hello and welcome to CAD Studio. I have been out of commission for a little while, a few months probably. Eager to be back, bringing you this fun mega photos folio that I had a request for something that holds a lot of photos. So this probably holds 28, maybe 30. So let's look at it really quickly and then we'll get started on building it. So it opens like so, a little magnetic closure, and inside room for 4x6 photos. And you could put them landscape, just trimming them down slightly. We have a waterfall here. This side holds approximately 8 photos or more. This is probably 10 over here, I think. I'm not sure. I'll count them later and let you know. And this opens like a book. It's 5 pages. And then we have the back, waterfall smaller, that has 3 pages that I have not covered in cardstock yet. So that's that. And for this, I use, to cover it, I use the, oops, we'll put that back later, the Minte Damask 6x8 paper pad, and it's very thick cardstock, you can see, so it makes the books nice and sturdy. Today we're going to try and use a different book. I'm not sure if I have enough paper in here. We might have to mix them up with another pad. We'll see. It'll be gorgeous. So we use 80-pound cardstock for the base. You can use 100, 110, whatever you have that's heavyweight cardstock for the base. You definitely have to have that. And for the waterfalls, I always use 65-pound cardstock because you're going to put, you know, your cover paper on cardstock, 65-pound plus the photo. So that's going to, you know, add weight to it. So that's Recollections. Does it say that? Yes, right there. And the other one is called Desktop Publishing from Amazon. That's where I bought it. All right, so what we're going to do first is I'm just going to go through the process here and score a few lines with you and put it together. So what we're going to do first off is take your 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock and cut it on the long side to 8.25 inches. So 3 sheets cut to 8.25 by 11. So this will be 8.25 by 11 inches. Take that to your scoreboard and we're going to score at 6.25 and at 7.25. I've already done these pages. And the same with the second sheet, 6.25 and 7.25. So you have a 1 inch gusset or binding, I guess you might call it. And then your last third sheet of 80-pound or your heavyweight cardstock, only score the 6.25 line. We will score the second line once we put the book together and put all our pattern paper on and see, you know, how thick it is. I think I added 1/8 of an inch to my other one from, you know, being 1 inch to another 1/8. So that's the base. So we'll set that to the side. We'll score or we'll crease everything at the same time. So you'll need a pocket for the back. If you want a pocket, cut at 6.75 by 2 1/8. And we'll take that to the scoreboard and we'll score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. And the 2 sides and the bottom. And you can score at the other end of your scoreboard, but for me, it's easier to do the 1/2 inch with these measurements. I don't know. It's just easier for me. Then we cut the corners here of this right at the corner here. We cut that at an angle, a little bit more down there. And again, at this end, And then we will set that to the side, fold it later. And now we're gonna score. Okay, so what we have for the waterfalls, we have 3 waterfalls. The back page, the middle, and the front page. So what we have, let's start with the front page. We have 4 sheets cut at 8 1/4 by 6. For the center waterfall, we have the same measurements, but we have 5 sheets at 8 1/4 by 6. And for the back page, we have 3 sheets at 4 1/4 by 7. So take a look at that. Maybe you can screenshot it. And we're going to also take 2 more sheets of paper and cut 2 more sheets of 65-pound cardstock and cut the base back pieces for these 2. And that's how we're going to put it together. We use the base and then glue to that base our waterfall pieces. So the base needs to be, so if we're going to score this at, let me show you how I figured this out. I'm going to score each one of these, oops, this way, at 1/2 inch. That leaves us 5 1/2 inches. So we need a piece 5 1/2 by 8 1/4 for the base. So we'll go to our, I hope that makes sense. Once we score that, you'll see. So if I get this wrong, we'll just recut it. So we're going to score it 1/2 inch. So we're going to fold that over, so we'll have left 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/4. So let's cut that 8 1/4 first. And 5 1/2. So that's the base for the center waterfall with the 5 pages. So we'll put that on the back. Let's cut the other one. And let's go and figure that one out. So I drew pictures on here where I score these at. So I score at the top. So this measurement here is 8 1/4. So if I go in 1/2 inch, which would be 7 3/4. So that base piece needs to be 7 3/4 by 6 inches. And again, I hope that makes sense to you. Once we score it all, you'll see. So 7 3/4. Sorry about my ring making noise. By 6 inches. Okay, and save your scraps. You might need them for something later on. Who knows? So we'll put that together with this section. And I don't do a back piece for this one because there's only 3 pieces. Easy to put in the book, just straight in. Okay, let's take our first page that's cut 4 of them at 8 1/4 by 6. And you can see we need to score it on the short side at 1/2 inch. So again, you could go down here, but I just feel like I get a better measurement this way. Maybe I don't. I don't know. So 1/2 inch on 4 pieces. Make sure you're putting that 8 1/4 piece in, not the short one. The short one does not get scored. Or I'm sorry, the back piece does not get scored. The one that we just cut in the trimmer. All right, let's put that base piece with our scored pieces. We'll put that together in a minute. Now we're going to take the center waterfall, which has 5 pieces, and we score it down this side. It opens like a book. So we'll take 5 pieces and score a 1/2 inch. And this one, we'll just score it on this end today at 5 1/2. And then put our back piece with that. Set that to the side, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold and crease everything, and then we'll start putting our waterfalls together and glue the book together. So let me just run through quickly how we fold and crease, and then I'll do all of that and we'll be back. So we fold and crease towards the bubble, which means this way. We scored it this way on the scoreboard, and then we're going to turn it over and fold and make sure you're even, and then crease. And then the next one, same thing. All right, and then I will do all of that, and I'll meet you back here when I'm finished. Back, and I realized that our last page of our set of 3 pages that are 4 1/2 by 7, I forgot to score, and we score it on the long end at a 1/2 inch. So it's 6 1/2 or a 1/2 at that end. So 3 of those. Just thought we'd do that together. And then fold and crease that, and then we'll be set to start building our folio. Get your glue ready. You need some glue. Also going to need some, I'm using some tape for the binding, or the, I guess you call it the binding or the gusset. It's just a Band-Aid cloth tape. Sorry if I'm not supposed to say the brand, but it's a cloth white tape that I'm using to firm up the creases, because this is going to be a hefty book. It's not really heavy, it's just going to be thick. And then when you fold and crease this pocket, you just want to make sure that these are not touching. Just goes in better that way. It looks smoother. Okay, so I folded and creased everything, and we're going to use this in a minute again, because that's helps us put our waterfall together. So I do have some marks here, but don't worry about that. It's not going to show. Excuse me. So lay your pieces out so that your largest piece is to your left on all your pieces. And that's how we're going to glue them together, right up to that first score line that we come to going towards your left. So grab that glue. And again, I use the Barely Arts Precision Craft Glue. I feel like this glue gives me a fair amount of wiggle room, as long as I get enough on there. I mean, not a ton, but all right, there we go. I like to get my corners well. Then lay this right side, or the center, this is the centerpiece, I guess, right up to that score line, and even up the top and bottom. I like to stand it. Before you press it, make sure it's in right, because if you have to take it apart, if you pressed it in, it will not come apart. So then make sure you've got a 90-degree fold there. Press her in. Turn it over. And if you have some edges hanging over, don't worry about that. You can always trim it with your scissors if you need to, because sometimes when you use certain trimmers, they don't trim up exactly perfect. You might have a little dangling piece. Happens to me sometimes. All right, and then the last piece, so one goes over the other, and the next goes over the next one, over the last one, I mean. So the same treatment. Glue all sides. All right, up to that score line, not on it. And then lay in your last piece that has just one score line. And we will put the second one in later. Line up the bottom and the top best you can. And make sure you have a 90-degree here, which I'm going to look. Okay, there we have it. Press that in nicely. Alright, this is your folio almost. And now we have our waterfalls. Let's work on the first one. Now you can see that once you have folded and creased everything, your back page is the same size as your front, or as your folded pieces. So that's what we're going to glue it right to that, just like that. And then if you're off at the ends, you can go to your big trimmer, if you have one, and even that out. All right, let's bring our scoreboard back in here. It just helps you line things up, at least for the first piece. So pop that into your scoreboard like so, and then glue the tab that you folded over, that 1/2-inch tab, and pop that in right to the edge. And I'm moving out just a hair, but I will push it back in there, make sure I'm not going too far. And I already see that I'm off this end just a pinch, so I might just lift that and trim it down later. Okay, press that in. And open that up, because sometimes you get glue that comes out and they'll stick together. Okay, so next sheet, same thing with all the sheets. They go run on top of the other. Okay. Next, I'll line that up. All right, looks great. So that we'll put to the side, and we'll build the 5-page. And then my back piece is here. This has no score lines or folds. That goes there. And then the tab gets glued down here. And I don't turn it this way. Well, I can, but I feel like I get a better line if I do it. If not, if I feel like that's not working for me, I'll just turn it. But this is how I built the other one. And my paper towel is not here. In any case, let's pop that in. The piece is off slightly, so that will need trimmed. Alrighty, open up. Next piece. Right, let's try it the other way now. Let's just do it this way. Lay that on the top, that one. Put it in the corner, mush it in there. Yeah, this is going to need some trimming. Yeah, better. See, if you make a mistake, just take it off, try again. As long as you didn't really super press it in there, you're okay. All right. And the next. I'm going to pull that out so I can make sure. I got a little shadow going on here, so it's kind of getting in my eyes. So make sure we're in good. Yep. And lift that open, press it in. Oops, see. 2 more. So for me, I'm pulling it away from the edge, and then I'm putting it back in to square it up, if that makes sense to y'all. And hopefully that's working. All right, let's open that. So then when you put this in that book later, this whole back page gets glued in on the 2 that we have. The one that opens this way and then this way. Okay, so let me pause for a moment. I'll be okay, right. We're back to the base piece. When we finished our waterfall putting together, now we're going to put on our white tape on the back. So you folded all your score lines this way, and we're going to put the tape on the back of the score lines here. And how I do that, I already done one for you, is I just kind of line this up with the center with the tape so that it's even on both sides of the score line. And then I'm just going to leave about a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch at the ends. Well, maybe I don't. So just press it in like so. And the other side meets up to that tape in the center of the gusset. And then tear that. Press that in. And it won't, these edges won't show. We're gonna put, pattern paper over that. I'm gonna do this one so I won't forget to do the last one when we're finished. Because I wait, like I said, I wait to put the last score line in until we have the pattern paper on, because it can thicken this up so much that it won't close with the same 1 inch. You may need a little bit more. So press that in. Nice. Okay, we're ready to put our waterfalls in. And now and I can't forget because I got my smudge over here, but my left side is the big side, and then this is the closure end on your far right. All right, and let's get gluing these in. And I took one of these to the big trimmer and I trimmed the edge off, and I only trimmed off, slight amount. I don't know if you can see that, but wasn't much. So the center is the skinnier one, and the left side is the one that opens. I should do this right. Opens this way, and I think I'm gonna trim this edge off as well. Am I? Nope, I'm not. It looks good to me. So put glue on the back, and just make sure you've got your top on the top. So that's where you started or ended with your pages. And on the back, you can mark these back before you glue them glue that back page or first page on. Gosh, I'm mixed up today. So you put your base piece down on the scoreboard, and then you start stacking and gluing the edges, the edge tabs that you folded over. So you could mark this piece as the back. So when you get to gluing here, you'll know the top from the bottom. It can be a little confusing. So here we go. Got all our glue on. We're gonna try and even this up. This one, press that in. Lift all your pages and go ahead with your scoring tool and really press that in. We want this to be good and sturdy. And we have a pinch of glue going on here. Let's see, where's the paper towel? Wipe that off. Okay, I think we're good. And I'm just going to give a really good press here. This is where I really needed to stick well. You're going to be open and closing that like all the time. All right, your next one. I feel like I have a little piece of paper sticking off from when I trimmed this one. There. A little trim. So my back page is here. I can see it. And that's where I want to put the glue. So if it makes it easier for you to mark this back page or mark the top, either one. So you're gluing the right one on. Make sure you have a fair amount of glue over in this area, because this is where it may give us grief. I haven't had that happen, but let's even this up from top to bottom. If that bothers you, you can trim off a pinch of that if you need to at the bottom edge. Okay, there we have it. Oops. And I feel like I'm probably going to trim that down a little bit. Okay, so your back page is the last page here. So what we do here is we just pop these on and stack them on top of each other right on the page. So we put our glue on the first tab. This one might be a little trickier for you, I'm not sure. How you feel about, trying to even this up. So we're going to even up between the score lines here, this piece, and put it to the top edge, maybe down a teensy bit. And I'm not even, so I'll scoot over. You can mark the center if you need to, but I'm just going to eyeball it today. Press that in really well. Your next piece goes right on top, just like we built the other ones. If you wanted this waterfall to go down, you could always, put it here and then work your way down, but we're even here. I'm lining up my edges too. Open and press. And the last one, we'll throw that pocket in a second and you will be ready to decorate. Excited? I am. All right, big press there. And again, I'm lining up my edges too, besides the top. And I lay that in there. All right, here's your pocket. It should fit nicely right in here. And you have a little space between the pocket and the photos. So how we do that is we glue just the bottom tab in. So hold these. Oops, got glue on it. And then even up between your score lines and then give it a good press. Open that, press it in, and then what we will do is grab a piece of paper here. I'm not using this paper today, but this is what we'll do. We'll put our pattern paper in and then glue the pocket in. If I forget to get to that part, glue the other 2 tabs here once your pattern paper is in, okay? So the next step here is wipe my hands and start to put the pattern paper on. And where I like to start is, because I'm only using the heavyweight, I don't know if that's what you call it, but this is pretty sturdy cardstock on the back and on the inside and outside of the gussets. That makes sense to y'all, I hope. So what I would do is flip this over, and all these sections here. Oh, I just want to show you something really quick. So once you put your pattern paper on here, and typically I just put a piece of pattern paper on the front of these, and I have to measure and cut those. And let me show you how to measure. And I've already written down the mat sizes for myself, but I urge you to do your own measuring, because everybody's cutting machines act differently, and you might cut a hair smaller than me. I don't know. Okay, so let me get started on gluing on the back. And these all will be this 6x8 size for all of these. And then for my gussets will be 3/4 of an inch, or I usually go a hair wider than that. But so your 6x8 pieces will fit all these sections here. And I will also, not that one. I also put them on, let's say this back section here will fit, because it's on the other side of this page that we're going to put that piece on. So I will also put a 6x8 sheet here. I might cut this down a hair. I don't know. We'll see. Because we did move this down a bit. But all your back pages should fit a 6x8. Yep, that fits there. And here again, we might have to trim that one down a little bit. Nope, that one fits better. Okay. So let me get started on gluing some of these pieces of cardstock. See if I have enough. And I'll meet you back here with the final touches that we need to do. Okay, I've got all my pattern paper on and my cardstock, 65-pound cardstock glued on. And the finishing touches are going to be doing this last fold. And so what I did was I put like 28 or 30 photos in the book, and I kind of, put them here and there. And I fold it all closed, and then I lean this up, and then I put a pencil line. You can see that pencil line right on the edge where that needs to be. It's about 1/8 inch bigger than an inch, so it's 1 1/8 inch gusset in that section. And I wouldn't put that line in at first, because you never know how thick your papers are going to be, or how that's going to pan out. So let's take all the photos out for now that I've marked it. And let's take this to the scoreboard and mark that last score line at 1 1/8 inch. So I'm going to turn it over. I know where it needs to be. So I'm going to go at 8 and go to 9 1/8. Right here. And I like to score it from this way because the bubble will be on the inside where I need to fold it. So I'm going to fold that, put the tape on. Make sure it's even. press it down. Then we'll open it and put our last piece of, my tape seemed to have ran away. All right, put our last piece of tape on that fold line. Remember, we have to reinforce that because this is a, you know, it's got a lot of photos in it. It gets a little, and then I'm going to put on, let's see if this fits. It does. Put my last piece on the out, well, not my last piece, but I'm going to glue my gusset piece in. And what measurement was this? I don't recall. I think it's a little bit bigger than the 3/4. I just laid my piece on there where it needed to be, and I marked it with a pencil and I cut it. You can do that too. All right, there we go. That piece. And then I did the same with this paper. I went and laid it down, marked it, and then cut it. And I just eyeball that 1/8 of an inch in. All right, let's refold that before we get crazy. Press this piece in. It's crooked. Let's fix it. Okay. Crease. Open that up. Pop this one on. Yep. Sometimes I can't decide which side of the paper I want to use. I'll pick up one side and then I'll change my mind halfway through. All right, put this piece on and we're gonna go back to the inside. Oops, wait. Hold on, I got a little piece. I don't want to press that in yet. I got this, I like to make a little tab where I'm gonna put the magnet, which is about halfway. I'm guessing that on that. I'll glue all of this one side. So I just made a 2-inch by 1-inch piece and fold it in half. And I put a tab because you get a lot of wear and tear opening and closing the book. So I just like to have it reinforced. So let's pop that in. I have to re-glue that, looks like. So I'm guesstimating, you could measure this. I'm going to pull it out just a hair from the edge. Maybe 1/8 of an inch out. And press that down good. I almost forgot to do that, didn't I? Pop some more glue on this piece. So I had right over that tab. I like to press the paper in with this paper towel because you get it on your fingers and you can smudge up the paper. Let's turn that back over. Let's put on this gusset piece. I just laid it in here, and the pieces are 8 inches, so you don't have to cut that measurement, but the side, I just laid it in there and marked it. It's probably a little bit big, but it's gonna work. I mean wide. So let's glue that in, and this is the piece I've got to fold in. I didn't unfold it, but it's still gonna work. I mean, it's gonna be cute, no matter what. And then we'll do a walkthrough after we put the magnet on. Pop that in. press that line out. You almost can't see it, right? There you go. All right, and our magnets. This is how I do my magnets. Take a positive and a negative, put them together. I got glue on my fingers. Tear off one side of that paper and put it, well, we're gonna put it right there and about 1/2 inch in. Press that down. Close your book up all the way. Remember, this is the cover. And then we're going to take that paper off and line this all up and then press it in. So what I like to do is stand it up, make sure I've got the top edge right, and then just press that down and put my hand in there. Press it. And then you can repress that after you open it all up and just kind of give it a zhuzh there. All right, there we go. Okay, let's take a walk through here. And you could decorate this in a, you know, like really cute. I'm just gonna have pattern paper on for now. Oh, let's put our pocket on. And let's do that last final touch to glue our pocket tabs in. Lift that up, press it in, and that is the pocket. You could go in and insert something in there to hold that in. Also, if you took a sheet of your leftover, which I don't seem to have too much left over here, but let's, for the sake of just doing it, you could take a piece of your heavier pattern paper. I'm going to take this one because it's the last, well, it's not the last one, but it doesn't match. I know, I realize that. Let's score it at 4 inches because this is a 6x8 sheet. So we'll score it in half. We'll fold it. And if you put it in this pocket, it will hold that closed. I know it's not matching, but you know, bear with me, guys. I ran out of paper. Okay, let's close this up and have a little peek. All right, this is our gorgeous little mega photos folder. Okay, in this section here, I just want to show you quickly how to measure for your mats that are going to go on each section here. So if it measures 5.5 by, and this is 8 1/4. So it measures 8 1/4 by 5.5. You're going to subtract 1/4 inch from each measurement. So this would be 8 by 5 1/4. That's the size you will cut this mat to fit this section. And I urge you to measure your book. Make sure that you're getting that right. And do a dry fit. Take that piece that you cut and lay it in there and see if it fits. If not, take it back to the trimmer, and this one was not cut. Back to the trimmer and shave a little off. If you need to, or cut a new piece if that's, you know, what it calls for. So all your sections, you'll do the same thing. Measure it and then subtract 1/4 inch from each measurement. So I will put the measurements for the mats that I used in the description, so you can find those there. But again, like I said, I urge you to measure your sections yourself, because I don't want you cutting all your mats and finding out that they're all wrong for your book. They shouldn't be if you follow what I've done. So one last thing in here before we go on to the next section is the reason I say that there's 20 or 28 spots for photos is because you use both pages here and there. And again, you could decorate it, put some words down here or whatever you like. And we open up, open, and open. And in here, all I did was put pattern or 65-pound cardstock on one side, because you're going to have photos in here. And this is already firmed up with that cardstock. And if you could definitely fit, you know, a couple of photos here. If you trim these up, you could put them this way or this way, whichever works for you. So that's the first waterfall with all the pattern paper on it. The second waterfall is this sideways, opens like a book. Again, you could fit, if you went 4x4 photos, you could probably put 2 in there on each page. So that would give you a lot more than 20 some photos. Okay, and that back page is a little bigger than these are because it goes out a little farther right there. And the last waterfall has 3 pages plus the back page. And then this, you could put 2 photos in there and 1 here. With journaling paper on there, a myriad of things you could do. And then also, I just want to mention that when you're making this, you could very well use it a different way. And you could corner around these corners if you know, like it better that way. You could open this, you know, a different way, you know, and use it this way, I suppose. And then this would open like a book. You could change the way this one goes in, turn it so this edge is up here, and you would flip it up. I mean, that's just an idea. Or you could use it this way and open your book the other way, or flip that around, and then this one would open this way. So, ideas for this are endless. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you make this this folio. Let me know if you have any questions about this, and if I can help you with anything. I hope I have all the direct. Again, I urge you to measure your pages yourself in case they're off a bit. Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have lots of fun building this folio. Put lots of photos in there. Let me know how it goes. I'd be excited to hear from you. I love all your comments and can help with all your questions. So have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.